All right, so let's talk about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This is the long-awaited sequel from its predecessor, which came out in 2018, Black Panther. And this reunites Ryan Coogler as writer and director with its stars Letitia Wright, Lupita Nyong'o, and Angela Bassett. Now, as most of you probably already know, this film actually had to halt for a while in terms of its production because its lead star, Chadwick Boseman, unfortunately passed away. Unexpected to a lot of us because none of us knew that he was facing some serious health issues. Now, of course, that being said, Ryan Coogler, who returns as writer and director here, had a really, big responsibility, not just for the audience, but just as a director. I mean, when you have a movie that is so praised and so popular as the original Black Panther was, not only do you have to now live up to that hype and present a sequel that's going to be just as big, just as bold, he was met with a really big challenge, which his lead star has now passed away. And so not only does he have to mourn the loss of probably a dear friend of his and as a collaborator, but now has to kind of rework and retool everything in terms of story. And I have to give it to him very much for doing that, because that is a pretty, heavy hand to be dealt. Now, I think Ryan Coogler is an amazing director. I've loved a lot of his work: Fruitvale Station, Creed, and now Black Panther, and I think he does an exceptional job with Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. The one thing I do want to note about this movie that I think is very special, and something that Marvel I always like to give praise for, is that they make things very relatable. They're able to kind of take things personalized from real life and factor it into this world, which is very much fantasy. And what I mean by that in terms of this story is that in real life, Chadwick Boseman passed away, and of course the world is grieving and mourning him, as well as in the movie, Wakanda is able to also grieve and mourn the loss of their king. This is a very personal story. It's very just heartfelt and heart-wrenching. There's a lot going on here, and he was able to honor that in a beautiful way. Meanwhile, of course, factoring in this new storyline of, everyone in Wakanda trying to protect their country from all this different world trying to invade and take over, and also wreak havoc. And what I think is wonderful is that you have to not only rewrite and rework the story that you originally had, but just try to keep it with the same heart and intention that you wanted to do initially. And I think Ryan Coogler did a wonderful job. So I want to give him, just a praise and a shout out there for doing that. Now, I will say that I don't think Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is as good as the first movie, but I was still very entertained. I think this movie, because, of the absence of Chadwick Boseman, which of course no one could predict or be ready for, we do feel the absence there. But given what they had to work with, I still think they did a wonderful job. I do think the movie runs a little bit long. I think it could have been trimmed down maybe by 20, 30-ish minutes, just because there were things that I felt like kind of maybe prolonged a little bit more than they needed to. But nevertheless, I think the movie is still beautiful. Its sequences are done really well. The acting is great. I think Angela Bassett and Lupita Nyong'o and Letitia Wright, the three women who are kind of at the forefront of this movie, do an exceptional job carrying on the legacy of Chadwick Boseman and just really giving us what we really want with this story. And it's well done. So again, while I did feel it wasn't maybe as great as the first movie, I still think it's a very worthy sequel. And given everything that was, presented to them, given the unfortunate event that took place prior to filming, they did a really great job. And if you're somebody who loves Black Panther, I'd love to know your thoughts on the movie. I am very excited to see where they're going to go next. I know Black Panther is going to continue, and so I'll be very curious to know what's going to happen next. I'm not a Marvel fan by terms of the comic books. I don't really know much about them. But as a Marvel movie viewer, I really, really appreciate this universe. So what your thoughts are on it, I'd love to know. Please drop a comment down below so we can kind of discuss. What did you think of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever? And are you excited for the next installment? I know I am. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and thank you for watching.